it doesn't mean there isn't opportunities to expand and to grow yourself in different ways beyond that, right? I like to think we're like all a work of art, right? Like a David, right? Just chipping away, and eventually the beautiful you comes out, right?
Today, I am very excited to welcome Michelle Troseth and Dr. Tracy Christopherson. Now, boy, oh boy, this is a power-packed episode. We had a lot of fun, a lot of energy in this one. So it's not your typical sort of talking about lean podcast or anything like that, but the things that we talk about are definitely applicable to the work that we're doing in continuous improvement. Specifically, we really kind of dig into some signs that our internal operating systems could be sabotaging how we lead and how others that we work with, how they might lead. And we really just kind of get into the sort of like human behavior and why do we do the things that we do? And then what can we do if we're in a sort of a rut and we need to find our way out? And they're both experts, as you'll hear, on human development and just working with people. And I just had a lot of fun interviewing these two ladies. So I think you're going to enjoy this one. So show notes can be found over at gembapodcast.com. This is episode 608. Again, gembapodcast.com, and look for episode 608. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to the show. Michelle and Tracy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great.
We are fantastic. We're glad to be here, Ron.
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks.
So where are you calling in from? Are you guys together or?
Nope.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm calling in from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm Tracy. I'm calling in from 3 hours north, a small town called Boyne City.
Okay. Also in Michigan?
Also in Michigan. Yep.
So I got to ask, Wolverines, Spartans?
U of M.
Wolverines, go blue.
Yeah, Wolverines.
I
And
don't know
tonight,
if you know about
Tigers.
I'm from Ohio, so I'm a little sensitive here.
Well, I have to tell you, I have a son that got his PhD at The Ohio State.
Yeah.
So he was kind of a closet Wolverine fan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last many years, we have nothing to say over here in the Ohio State side. So, whatever. I think even last year, it's like, yeah, won a national championship. Great. Still lost to Michigan.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, was it really a success? I don't think so, really.
I know. Isn't that so funny?
Yeah. You can lose every game. And that's when
We all love it, though. Okay. We all love it.
Oh, yeah. I actually have such great friends that are affiliated with the Michigan, Rich Sheridan, and a bunch of people up there in the Ann Arbor area. They're fantastic. So we would just give each other heck on, one Saturday a year,
You bet.
Awesome. All right. Well, as you know, we like to get our shows kind of going with a quote. So do you have one?
We each have one.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Double.
Double quotes today. I can start. So mine is, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we created them with. And that's an Albert Einstein quote.
What's that mean to you?
Well, we're all about thinking outside the box. And a big part of our work is a whole different way of thinking, which is polarity intelligence. So more about both and thinking than either or thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Michelle, what do you got?
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is by Margaret Wheatley, who wrote the book Leadership in the New Science, and it's relationships are all there is. Everything in the universe only exists because it's in relationship to everything else. Nothing exists in isolation. We have to stop pretending we are individuals that can go it alone.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially pertinent for the work that we all do here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sometimes Tracy and I shorten it to just relationships are all there is.
Yeah. Saw somebody like 1 + 1 = 3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff. Well, hey, before we jump into kind of the formal questions, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your backgrounds and then in the line of work that you're in.
Sure. I'll start. This is Michelle. So Tracy and I, we actually met this month, 40 years ago in hospital orientation. So our background is in healthcare. I'm a nurse and Tracy's a respiratory therapist, but we did work in healthcare transformation for over 20 years across North America, primarily helping leaders create healthy work cultures. And then eventually we knew that there was something just dying to get out of us to make our contributions to the world. So we left our corporate roles in 2017 and started our company, Missing Logic. And I'll let Tracy take it from there.
Yeah. So in our work today, we work with leaders and organizations. And our work with leaders really is around creating a burnout proof life. We want them to bust through their old leadership norms so that they can live their best life and they can be burnout proof. And in organizations, we're still helping organizations create healthy workplaces, but we do that with a methodology called polarity intelligence. So it's really about understanding problems that you can solve and tensions that you need to leverage.
So you mentioned burnout. I'm curious. How would you describe? I mean, it's a word that we all use, but it can really mean a lot of different things to different people. Like, how would you characterize burnout?
Good.
Well, there's great question because it is used a lot, but it's really, and there is a World Health Organization definition. It is classified as an occupational health, disorder. But really, it's just when you are so exhausted that you can hardly function anymore, and you just stop caring, and your ability to contribute, to think, to respond just diminishes and diminishes until you don't even recognize yourself anymore.
Yeah, you're really disengaged.
Yes,
right?
very disengaged.
Yep.
How long do you think it takes for burnout to really settle in? Is that something that can come on quickly, or is it just sort of linger and then slowly overtake you, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it builds over time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason it's so dangerous is you don't see it happening to yourself.
Kind of like a frog in the water sort of thing?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. You keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself and overextending yourself and thinking, okay, I'll get through this. This is just this time. As soon as this is over, this project's over, this program's implemented, things will get back to normal, but it doesn't. And you just keep going and you keep going. And then there's stressors in the organizations that you work in, right? Maybe even stressors in your personal life that you're just pushing under the surface. You're not giving them your full attention. And it just starts to build and build and build. And then sometimes it hits people like a ton of bricks. It just takes them down. And Michelle actually has a great burnout story.
Yeah, I do. I actually had that happen to me, and it took me down for a long time. And I didn't realize it, but I was really operating in those days under the leadership norm that you have to work hard to be successful. And what I always share with people is like all leaders, the more successful you are, the more people ask you to do. And we have a hard time easy time adding things to the platter, hard times taking them off. And I was in a hospital boardroom one day, and I had a lot on my plate for a long time. I kept pushing through, when all of a sudden I had every symptom of a stroke and ended up hospitalized for 5 days. Now, the good news is I didn't have a stroke. I had a very rare hemiplegic migraine event, but it was very clear it came on from I was totally burnt out, and I didn't realize how burnt out I was because I was just pushing through and loved the work that I did.
And ignoring the signs.
Tracy's quick to add that in.
Well, because that's the classic, right?
Yeah.
Somebody says, I'm worried about you. And you go, oh, I'm okay. I'm doing fine.
That's
right.
True.
You feel exhausted, but you just think, oh, it's okay. I'll rest next weekend. Right.
So
yeah,
I have an interesting thing. I just thought about this. I have a friend of mine who was recently I just sensed something was off, and I know them pretty well, and I was like, hey, how's everything? Are you okay? And that sort of thing. And what they mentioned was sort of the almost the opposite of what you're describing. Like they were very, how do I say, like uninspired with their work, bored even. And it was just this malaise, and it just like really overtook them like in the workplace, but it was even sort of permeating, like just hanging out, on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's your take on that? It's like the opposite of burnout. Like, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just bored and uninspired. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
That can be symptoms of being burnt out as well, right? Because
just in a different way. Yeah.
Right. So the drivers can be like Michelle, excited, wanting to do, and then just doing too much and then burning out. But sometimes too, it's that, like you said, like the frog in the water, right? It's just that steady. And then you just get to this point where you're like, I just don't care anymore. I just can't even answer that question. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be engaged. So that's how it can also show up. So I think it has a lot of different faces, just depending on who you are and the context of the situation. But it really is just that exhaustion, that disengagement, pulling away from something that used to bring you joy. Right. And just that feeling of like, I'm done. Like this is just enough. Yeah.
So, all right. So something that I know that you're both passionate about is something called an internal operating system. I'm wondering if you could maybe unpack that. Like, what does that mean, an internal operating system?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've learned is we all have an internal operating system. Just like your computer has an operating system, your phone has an operating system. We do too. And the way we describe it is it includes your identity. So it's kind of who you believe you are, the characteristics that you embody. And it also, and that's really the heart of it, the heart of your operating system. And then the other is your beliefs. And your beliefs are just thoughts we keep thinking over and over until we believe they're true, right? They may not be true, but there's something that we believe. And oftentimes we're indoctrinated with these beliefs from the time we're kids, in our churches, in our communities, in our homes with our parents, right? They give us messages, repeated messages that we just take in and believe. And then we think that's just how things are, right? And we pick these up as leaders through leadership norms. Like you got to work hard to be successful. Leaders sacrifice. That's just how it is, right? That's why I get paid the big bucks. Those kinds of things. So those are kind of beliefs and they're always, most of them are under the surface and we're not even aware of them. And then our values, the things that matter most to us. And it's really kind of those three things together that really drive the operating system. And that operating system drives everything you do, right? It drives your thoughts, it drives your emotions, it drives your behaviors, and then ultimately it drives the results that you get. And so our default operating system is based on our past. All the things we've learned and experiences we've had that maybe have informed who we have been, drives the default operating system. And if that's not aligned with the results that you want, you're not going to get the results that you want because you won't act outside of what you believe, right? Or you won't act outside of your identity. So you're never going to take the actions to get the results you want if you don't align these other elements with those results that you want. So that's why it's kind of that. And it's internal, right? It's not always apparent to us unless we do some specific work to uncover it.
So what kind of work, like, let's say someone's listening, is like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Well, it really starts with that awareness. So you have to start asking yourself some really quality questions, right? Like, what beliefs are driving the show right now? Like, what is it that I believe that's driving my interpretation of this situation? What is driving my behavior or my emotions right now? It's also thinking about, if I had that result that I wanted, who would I be? How would I, what characteristics would I be embodying, So just like some key questions like that. And even just, thinking about that clarity of what is it that I really want and what's the thing that's really holding me back. What is
Mhm.
that key thing? Is it a belief? Is it my identity? Are my values aligned with where I'm trying to go?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
asking quality questions really begins that. And if I cover that you have a limiting belief or something that's holding you back, it's then how can I reshape that? So rather than I have to work hard to be successful, I'm successful when I work smart. Right. So that's a way that you flip that around and you start to tell yourself that story, right? You start to repeat that to yourself every time it comes up. Oh, I got to work hard. Wait a minute. No, when I work smart, I'm more successful. So how can I work smarter, right? It's about shifting that operating field that you're in.
Got it. Michelle, did you have anything that you wanted to add or?
No, I think the whole thing is just awareness. It starts with awareness, like Tracy said, and just paying attention to what is triggering you, what is making you do the things that you do. So a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's a practice, I would say, right? It's a practice,
Mm-hmm.
not just like you got to be consciously doing this. It's a mindful choice to be catching your thoughts, right? Catching what these beliefs are and the way that you're behaving.
So is it possible then, something that I think you guys are passionate about is the whole idea of leaders, really just individuals, but for sure leaders, almost self-sabotaging themselves. Like, is there a way that happens, that their internal operating system's actually just doing more damage than good?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
there's signposts along the way.
Okay.
So one of them is that you just get stuck in a reactive mode, and it becomes a default as well. And that you just leaders find themselves just always responding to the urgent, and they have great intentions. Like, this week I'm going to be very strategic about what I'm going to be doing. And before they know it, they're caught up in their inbox. They're caught up in
Mm.
responding to everybody. And they don't take the time to even pause to like coach their team members because they're just so used to just jumping in and fixing things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like they're just in this reaction mode all the time, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. I was with a leader this week, and we were having a meeting, and he was on the phone. He wasn't on the phone, but his phone kept going off, and he kept feeling like he had to answer it. I'm like, why do you have to answer your phone? You're just automatically feeling like you have to answer your phone. You're in a meeting right now. It's called a boundary.
Yeah.
And you can wait until we're done with our meeting. But I was just watching this unfold, and I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, I always got to be on, always responding. And so, that's an internal thing. That's an internal response that has to be flipped and rewired. That no, this can wait. So that's an
Yeah.
example of one.
Yeah. Another one is when you start to feel stuck, right? Like, you kind of have moved on inside. Like you're outgrowing the role that you're in and you're feeling kind of trapped and stuck, right? Like you're just not as satisfied. You're not feeling as fulfilled, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And you just keep going through the motions, right? You keep staying in a role or in a position that is really not serving you in what you ultimately want to experience. But but it's comfortable, right? It might not be a happy place, but you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep yourself there sometimes. And you tell yourself stories that there's no way to get out of this. I don't have any other options. I did this to myself, right? Like there was a time in my life where I was like, what else? Like I knew I wasn't satisfied where I was. I knew I had more to offer, but I felt like my background and my education kept me trapped in this certain area of work.
Mm.
Like I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have the right credentials to step out into something else. And I kept telling myself that. Well, there really isn't anything else that you can do. Just keep doing what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that just kept me there for probably 2 more years than I really wanted to be there
Mm.
because I held myself back. So I sabotaged my own advancement and growth by telling myself, there isn't really any other option for you.
Yeah, that imposter syndrome is a very tricky thing. And I think we've all experienced it, right? In life in one way or another, just even being a parent, it's like, oh my gosh,
Nobody's ready for that job.
For real.
And we'd never take it on if we really knew what it was all about.
And it never ends.
Right? Yeah. Although I have to say, my oldest daughter is, she just made me a grandpa. So so it's a different kind of love, I tell you, man.
Yeah.
So I know I don't look that old, but yeah. But no, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. It is amazing.
Yeah.
That's the best job.
Yeah, I know for sure. Just spoil him. And then, he's just a little baby right now, so I can't really spoil him too much.
Oh, listen, none of the responsibility and all the fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
all right. Well, so once a leader realizes that maybe their whole mindset, their operating system, whatever you want to call it, is holding them back, what do we do? Like, how do you go about sort of upgrading and making improvements? Or do we just stay stuck?
Oh, no, we don't want to.
We get them unstuck.
Okay.
So again, I think it's really working through some very specific processes around the identity that you want to embody, like getting that clarity. What is it that I really want? And if I was that person and had that, how would I be, like, what characteristics would I embody, And then what you have to do is operate from that place. So if you are somebody that wants to be, if being disciplined is a important characteristic for you to achieve your result, then you want to operate as a disciplined person every day. So you have to set yourself up, right? I am disciplined, right? You have to keep reminding yourself that you're not operating from who you are today. You're operating from the person that has what you truly want. And, a great way to think about this, and maybe this happened to you, Ron, but, how many times did anybody ever tap you on the shoulder and see you as a leader before you saw it in yourself? Or have you done that for somebody else?
Yeah, no, I can think back at early in my career, just as I was working at Motorola. Was my very first job out of college, and they stuck me on the night shift. And but I remember being in this role where I wasn't in a leadership role, but it was interesting. I still vividly remember it. Like, there were certain things that I knew needed to be done, but I wasn't being asked to do it. But my boss kind of, gave us the autonomy to do it. And I remember just sort of doing it and then being acknowledged for that. And I remember how good it felt, to have that sense of accomplishment, even though it was way above and beyond probably what I was supposed to be doing. And maybe I don't think I was doing it for the attaboys or anything like that, but it was just I wanted to do well, it was like, I'm there. I want to do the best that I can, and I don't know, sort of like carried on then really for the rest of my career, that mindset of trying to do what needs to be done and maybe a little bit more. And it was more of an intrinsic motivation at that point, I feel like, than even an extrinsic carrot.
Yeah. And so some of us in some instances do that naturally because that's a part of who we innately are. It's a part of our identity. It's a part of what we believe and what we value. And so, but not always is that the case, right? When we're striving to move ourselves out of our comfort zone and to really strive for something that we, that's beyond where we are today, we need to embody that, right? But when somebody recognizes it in you, it's because you're just doing it already. It's like the person that gets tapped to be a leader, they're already leading. They already are embodying the characteristics, whether they have the position or the role or the appointment or whatever it might be. At that time, they're already being that person and they're operating as that person. And then others recognize that.
What are your thoughts on, have you heard of these so-called love languages? I'm words of affirmation, right? Like, tell me I did a good job. Oh, it makes me feel wonderful. My wife, I tell her she did a good job or whatever, could care less. She's acts of service. So pick up the messy living room floor or whatever, she lights up, or I don't care, so like, how does that, because we're all different, right? There's things that motivate us all differently. So how do you sort of take those types of situations of what, even if you don't necessarily know what motivates someone, because you're working with them or whatever, but should we be thinking about that, thinking about the other person?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's actually one of the things we help leaders with is it's called personal alignment, but it really is start with knowing yourself first.
Yeah.
And so those things like what you're saying are so important. Knowing your strengths. What are your top strengths?
Yeah.
We do a lot of work with the Enneagram, with like you have to know yourself, but then also know your team, know your partner. I can so relate to the love language because my husband and I don't have the same love language. But we have to be aware of each other's love languages, right? So I think that's really important. Every person is unique. You have to know yourself, but you also have to know others. Great point.
And you want to do things that are in alignment with your unique, characteristics, with your unique talents and skills, but you also don't want it to hold you back. You don't want to use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I'm a 3, and 3s do this, right? So I'm always like, okay, I get that. And I think it's really important. And you want to know yourself and understand why you respond the way you respond, different things like that. And it doesn't mean there isn't opportunities to expand and to grow yourself in different ways beyond that, right? I like to think we're like all a work of art, right? Like a David, right? Just chipping away, and eventually the beautiful you comes out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I'm wondering, maybe to wrap things up, do you guys have any stories or examples of folks that you've worked with who've sort of, gone through some of this transformation and self-realization and made some improvements?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell a story about one of the individuals that we worked. I actually just talked to her yesterday too. But so she would say she was a high achiever, like a doer, right? There wasn't anything you wouldn't give this person that she wouldn't get done, right? And she really believed you have to work hard to be successful, right? And I cannot say no. As a high achiever, no is not in my language, right? Not one of my words. Now, the things that would trigger her would be kind of like Michelle, like opportunities, right? Opportunities to do a research project, or opportunities to lead a program, or opportunities to, participate in somebody's dissertation committee or something like that, right? So her behavior was, she said yes all the time. And she worked literally all the time. I mean, this person only slept 2 to 3 hours a night, barely slept. She was always working, right?
Wow.
Now her emotions, because this is like a chain reaction, right? So the emotions that she was feeling, like she had fear. She was afraid she would let somebody down if she didn't do what they asked her to do. If she didn't take on the work, she'd be letting somebody down. But at the same time, when she was doing all of this and barely sleeping, she felt underappreciated, undervalued. And the result was, when we started to work with her, she was at the end of her rope. She was totally burned out. She was exhausted. She had neglected herself, her personal life, her self-care, her family. I mean, she was in a deep hole. Now, after she, really started to take a look at, what are my beliefs? Who do I want to be? What is it that I really want, right? How do I want to make different choices? Then she started to see herself as a very accomplished and transformational leader. And she flipped her beliefs to, I can choose what I say yes and no to. That's all within my power. And she also began to believe, like, I matter. As much as my work matters, I matter. I'm important. I need to care for me. So what happened is she started to, now she's sleeping 6-7 hours a night. She started to go on vacations, which she never took. She's been caring for herself, with her meals and her exercise and all the things. And she's closer, spending way more time with her family. And she chose to stop settling for what she was being given. And she took ownership, like she became the CEO of her life. And she said, this is not enough. This is not what I want to live. And she went out. She started searching for new opportunities. She got a new role in a whole new institution. She is internationally known now. I mean, her contributions are incredible. She's had multiple promotions and she's living her best life professionally and personally. So now she has this very balanced, dynamically balanced life where she's thriving in all aspects. And I just talked to her yesterday. She's like, I use everything you taught me every single day in my roles and working with other people. I'm even coaching my sister, she said, and how to have a better relationship and all these other things, right? But it's just, it makes my heart just sing to see somebody own their life. You know, so much of the time we give control of our lives to other people from the moment we wake up. As soon as we open our phone or our computer, we're letting somebody else's priorities take over ours. And so much of that's under the surface. We don't even know we're doing it. We just do it.
When you see such a transformation like you just described, I'm like, I genuinely mean this. Like how does that make you guys feel?
It makes me cry. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it brings tears of joy to me every time I think about this person. To have that kind of impact and to see them, she owned it.
Well, you changed her life.
She changed her life.
She changed it. Well, you helped.
Yeah. Well, we gave her tools, right? Yeah. And guidance and coaching. But when it comes down to it and everything we've talked about today, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And you are always choosing. Even if you're not making the choice, you're choosing, right? You are choosing. And so she chose, that was enough. I'm not staying here, right? And then she did the work that she had to do. And it wasn't always easy and it wasn't always fun. Yeah. A lot of tears and a lot of challenges, right? Mm-hmm. But look at her today. I mean, she is amazing.
And her husband thanks us every time he sees us.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. That's one of the best parts. When the husband says, you got to do this. Don't you have a call tonight with those women? He would be reminding her. Are you going to that retreat with those girls? Like, don't miss that. Now, is there anything I can do to make sure you?
Yeah. Wow.
Talk about love language.
Yeah. Wow. Wonderful. Yeah. Wow. This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you both for carving some time out. If folks wanted to connect with, and we'll put your LinkedIn profiles and all that in the show notes, but I mean, is there any other ways that folks can best connect with you?
Well, I would say we have a website, missinglogic.com. That's probably the best way to get a hold of us.
Missinglogic.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And they can listen to us on our podcast as well.
What's it called?
Burnout Proof Leadership.
Nice. And it's just you two like chatting or? Okay.
It's and we have guests as well.
We have guests.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'm curious.
Do that.
So we're going to get it all linked up, and everybody in Gemba Academy podcast, go listen to this podcast as well.
Yeah,
so.
Oh, they'll get a lot out of it. Yeah. We'll share yours as well.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you both coming on, and this has been a lot of fun.
It has been. Thank you so much, Ron.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Take care. Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to gembaacademy.com.